Awesome. So David, thanks so much for hopping on with me here today. I'm super excited to chat. I think it's been awesome to see what you've achieved throughout the program so far. And I wanted to just jump on, ask you some questions and kind of highlight your story a little bit so that other people who are maybe looking at achieving similar things in their life could see like, okay, what does this process look like? You know, how does this work? So before we dive into anything, I wanted to talk about a little bit about your background. I guess you, like, even before doing anything with Winner Circle, you already had a 4-year degree in mechanical engineering, right? You had a good job in, you know, what some people would call like a good, stable job working with the government over the last number of years. I guess, like, what did you feel like you were still missing after getting the college degree and having that job that you were like wanting to really see change in your life?
Yeah, definitely. So I've had this job for a while now, and it's a really good job. I'm super grateful for it. It's afforded me a lot of great things in life. But there definitely is, kind of a salary cap.
Mm,
And in order to increase that, you can only increase it a very small amount. And to do that, you got to work really, really hard.
yeah.
So you get kind of capped out with that, with from a monetary standpoint, really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Another thing too, just from like the happiness and fulfillment side, is that
Mm,
literally the next 30 years of my life could be just planned out. I could
yeah.
basically go to the exact same desk, do really similar work, talk to pretty much the exact same people for the next
Mm.
30 years. And that just freaks me the you know what out. And I don't want to do that. That's not the life I want to live. Um,
Yeah.
I want to do work that's more rewarding, more exciting,
Yeah.
really just more demanding, pushes me
Yeah.
harder, but then also, pays me more
Yeah.
afterwards, and just is like more satisfying and more in
Yeah.
tune with kind of more like deeper skills that I have.
Absolutely. And it's just crazy because, some people see like, okay, you got the degree, you went through that process, you got the good job. And it's like, some people were like, hey, you made it. But it's like, you wanted to take that to the next level because you had the ability, you knew that you had more potential that you could see come to fruition. It's like, okay, what's that next challenge for me? I guess after some time, it felt like it became a cycle or like, hey, I don't want to get trapped in this for the next 30 years. I'm sure you started looking for some ways out. What did you try, like, before getting started with Winter Circle? What else had you tried before?
Yeah. So the first thing, which I think a lot of people I tried was an MLM.
Okay.
Which it was in the nutrition space, and I actually really liked the products and I got really good results in the products. But
Yeah.
any of you listening know, multi-level marketing companies, it's such a weird business. It's
Yeah.
so personal to you, and you're reaching out to your friends
Mhm.
and family, and you have to be that guy. And I actually got a little bit of momentum with it, but it was never gonna be something long lasting.
Yeah.
So I tried that. I looked into starting, a consulting business with the
Okay.
very famous, one that everybody's probably heard of. Um, Issue that I found with that is it was too general. There was
Mhm.
just there wasn't enough kind of specific advice to kind of get you
Mhm.
going. And then I looked into various other entrepreneur. That was only like other kind of program I purchased, but the other things I looked into, pretty much everything, like the Ty Lopez stuff, the
Yeah.
drop shipping, all these kinds of things. And what I noticed is that there was going to be so much time where you're working on this business where you're not getting any feedback. You don't
Yeah.
know what's happening. It's just kind of this black hole.
You're putting
And
out money, you're putting out work, and it's like, is this even
yeah,
gonna follow through?
and for me, with working a demanding 9 to 5 job, that's like not to disparage anyone who's doing retail or things like
Yeah.
that, but like, this is like I'm in like a professional,
Mhm.
industry job.
Yeah.
That's a long day, and
Yeah.
I only have so much energy left at the end of the
Yeah.
day. I can't be pouring it into something where I don't know that it's going to
Yeah.
pay off. So
And you still got to
those were
maintain
kind of
that.
more just dabbling, here and there. And then, then I finally stumbled upon your stuff. So
Awesome. It's interesting to hear all the different things that you kind of went through and looking at different things. 'Cause I think a lot of people out there feel in a similar way, where they're stuck in this job. They're like, I know there's more out there. They see people online making money, but then they just look out there and they see a million different things that are going on, right? And they're like, do I do the drop shipping thing? Do I try to start an agency? What do I do? And then it's like 90% of those things people are telling you to go out and start your own business, right? Which takes upfront capital and takes a ton of energy and takes a long time to build. And there's nothing against running a business, but it's like, if you have a full-time job, you have to maintain that too. You can't just like throw that out the door. So I guess David, when you first came into Winner Circle, came on the coaching call, started going to the training, what did you immediately start seeing that, hey, like, here's what I need to fix, here's what I need to work on?
Yeah, I think that I think the biggest thing I learned early on is that productivity is clarity. Productivity is not just doing more work or doing a bunch of stuff. It's clarity. It's being really clear on what you need to get done. And I think that's something that you're extremely good at is helping people with learning how to focus down on just what's truly important and getting those couple things done. Because I've been able to do all the work that I've done, in your program, all part-time, all outside of a really demanding job. And that's just because it's all been really focused work. So I would say drilling down onto just like what's the most important is probably the biggest thing that I started to learn.
Awesome. That's huge. And I know a ton of people say like, oh, work smarter, not harder, right? But it's like, in practicality, are you actually doing that? Are you actually implementing it? And that's when that focus piece comes in and is such a big piece. When you officially got rock and roll with Winner Circle, you were in the trenches, getting stuff done. What changes did you start to see in your life and in your career as you were kind of moving through the process?
Yeah, so I would say kind of the biggest difference with your program compared to other ones that I've seen is that most of the other ones, they just kind of go straight to the opportunity, right? It's like, okay, how do I make money? How do I make money? They're just focusing on that end result. But with your program, you talk about this concept of front loading all the work. And so we went extremely deep on like who you are as a person, what do you really want, and truly understanding like who you are and what you bring to the table. And when you do all that hard work up front, like once you get to the opportunity, it's like it was almost effortless. You know what I mean? It's just like such a natural pairing between you and that person that you're the entrepreneur, that team that you're going to be helping out. And so I would say that's the biggest thing, is because the things that you help people work on, they're all stuff that's in our control. Like we can easily do, easy being a relative term. You could do it, you can definitely do it. Whereas most of these other things, they're telling you to do stuff that, you can't really track, you can't really measure it. You're not really sure if it's working. So yeah, I'd say that's kind of the biggest thing. So at the beginning.
That's awesome. And yeah, it's so important to have the foundation down, because it's like, if you just go straight into the thing, right, but you don't have the pieces that are needed to make it work, even if you make it work for a couple of weeks, like it's not going to work long term. So understanding the why behind it and like all the pieces that go into it makes a huge difference. So and then as going through the program, when you got kind of towards the middle, when we start talking about the opportunity and the positions, you were actually offered an opportunity that you have that's going to be coming up here soon. Tell me about that. What was that like, being able to land that opportunity?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. Because, another amazing thing about your program is that, I have this opportunity that I'm going to be getting started on here shortly, that I'm going to be able to make, real money from, like actual money online is going to be coming to me. It's not just going to be a fantasy anymore. And I'm not even done with your program. I'm only like, I'm a little bit more than halfway through it. So I think the coolest part, like, because a lot of these programs are talking about the same stuff, right? We're talking about setting goals, working on your mindset, things like that. But the genius of your program is in the layout, because you have people start taking action so quickly, like, and actually, bring in money and implementing this stuff so fast that it's like, it's unlike anything else. Most things you get through the whole program, you're like, all right, well, what do I do now? Whereas this is like, you're just taking action so fast. And so because of the way you had it structured, when I got on this interview with this entrepreneur, we kind of like became friends within 5 minutes, and then it was just like, it was like two buddies that were talking, and he's like, of course I'm going to work for him, kind of. So
that's awesome. And you did a great job of implementing the training, like exactly what it talked about. And like for you, it's like, it was easy, right? Like you followed the process, you followed the steps, and it's like, I remember you saying like some of the things you did in the interview that like crushed it. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. Like that's exactly how it works. So I guess like if you had to put a before and after, and obviously we're still getting started, like we're still building obviously way beyond this. You went from a job that felt like the same thing every day, having the degree, having, kind of a capped, stagnant situation, to having a new opportunity that you can use to make, I mean, I don't know what exactly your numbers are going to be with this, but probably a 6-figure, if not, 80 to 100K plus income opportunity, making remotely income and building that for yourself. I guess, like, how does that feel, seeing that picture, and even just, the few weeks that you've been going through the whole process?
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's still kind of unreal, like it kind of deepens and becomes more real every day. But it's just great because, like I said, I've kind of been dabbling in this, been dabbling in and out of the entrepreneur stuff for a while. But in addition to that, just like personal development and, things like that, I've been really interested in. And those are things that, like, when you work on it, they make you feel better. But then there's kind of some cognitive dissonance that kicks in when you're like, oh man, like my life hasn't actually gotten any better. I just feel better. So this is like something tangible that's actually something that I did, and is gonna pay off. And it's when you have those real results, that's extremely important. Actual results are extremely motivating. And so I'm really excited for that. And what's cool is that, like, the motivation is kind of a different type of motivation. I feel like when you get a real result, that's when you want to keep doing more. Like, you don't have to force yourself, you're just like, okay, like I'm ready for the next thing.
And there's nothing wrong with personal development stuff. Like, all that stuff is great, but it's like, if all it's doing is like a short-term fix of like, make me feel good for right now, but you're not actually like, okay, where's the proof in the pudding? What's the results? What's the income? What's the progress? Then it's like, what does it even, count for? It's like, it's going to be a short-term high. So, well, David, again, just super excited to see the progress you've made already. You're getting plugged into a great opportunity. You've made so much progress, and I'm super proud of the success that you've seen already. I have no doubt that you're going to go on to crush and do even bigger things. I guess, what would you say, David, to someone who's maybe in your situation a couple months ago, where they're working a steady job, but it's stable, it's stagnant. It's like, they know they have so much more, and they're kind of on the fence about joining Winner Circle. Like, what would you have to say to them?
Yeah, I'd say a couple things. For the ones who are like, they're scared. First, I'll address the people who are scared to like quit their job or scared to do something else. So everything that I've done is part-time. Like, it's all been outside of my work. It hasn't affected my work. If anything, it's made my work better. Like on the first couple of coaching calls, I was just sharing wins that I had at work. It wasn't necessarily even with the stuff in your program, because all this stuff just affects your whole life. And like, even today, we kind of had to do this pitch. Like, it was, I work in engineering, but we had to do like a salesy type thing, and I just totally crushed it. Like, it wasn't even fair because I work with engineers, right? So I would say, to those people, I've been able to do everything part-time, and I'm actually going to do my opportunity part-time. I'm going to do it at night. It's going to be hard work, but I want to make a really strategic transition from my job to this like sales, entrepreneurship type lifestyle, because I don't want to just completely quit. Like they say, oh, burn the boats and stuff like that. But then a lot of those people end up working retail because it doesn't work out. So to those people, I'd say that. And then to people who are a bit on the fence from like the investment standpoint, fortunately, I'm at a point in my life, like I said, I've got a good job. I'll be honest, the money to get into the program, it wasn't an issue for me. So but for the people who it is, you got to think about time, right? So think about how much money you have saved, how much, you have access to credit, how much can you get access to with family, because what Sam's going to help you do is compress time, right? What might take you 3 to 5 years, you can do in a couple months, right? And so, I get it. It's uncomfortable. You have to make a bit of an investment, but that's kind of part of the journey to success, right? You have to do stuff along the way that's just hard, right? It's just difficult. And so that's just kind of like the first step.
That's awesome. And I super appreciate your feedback and perspective on that for someone who's been through it. Because I know a lot of people, they see stuff out there, right? And they're like, they know that they have to make investments in themselves, and they know that they have to try something, but it's scary and it's overwhelming because there's just like all this stuff. And it's like, what do you do? Who do you trust? How do you go through it? But I think, for some people that are in a similar situation, just seeing your story and what you've been able to achieve without like quitting everything and like starting a risky business and like, living on a shoestring, like you didn't like disrupt your old life at all. It's like, hey, we're leaving this in place, and then we're building step by step strategically in the most effective and efficient way possible. And I think that can be really encouraging to people that are like, okay, if I want to like do something different, do I have to throw it all away? You know, do I have to give up my degree and my career and all this stuff to make it happen? It's like, no, you don't necessarily do it. But yeah, it still takes risks. You still have to commit to yourself and go all in. So David, again, super excited to have you part of the program and just continue to see what this grows into. Like, I have no doubt that you're gonna continue to take this to higher and higher levels. So I've super enjoyed having you a part of the program, and I can't wait to see what you do over the next 6 months, year, a couple years coming up. I think it's going to be incredible. Looking back on this moment right now, I mean, like, you know, this is how it all got started. So
Definitely, man. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying all that, and right back at you. I'm so thankful that you created this and that you're so engaged in the process from the beginning. You know, I've been able to speak with you every week, and that's been a big part of the process for me. It's been fantastic.
yeah, absolutely.